Okay, people, lot of questions are actually based on cube roots of unity. Okay, so we'll just quickly go through what is basically cube roots of unity, and then we will take up problems which will clarify the concepts more. Okay, so we have here cube roots of unity. So let's say let z is equal to 1. Okay, let z is equal to 1. So in this case we can say that z, or that z cube is equal to 1. Okay, so z cube is equal to 1 can be written as z cube minus 1 is equal to 0. Z cube minus 1 is equal to 0. Basically what we mean here is that we have to find out the value of z by 1 by 3. Okay, so 1 to the power of 1 by 3 is equal to z. So we have to find out this value of z. Okay, if I take 1 to the power of 3, so this will be z. So let's say z cube minus 1 is equal to 0. We can represent this as a cube. See, a cube minus b cube is equal to a minus b into a square plus ab plus b square, which here would mean z minus 1 into z square plus z plus 1 is equal to 0. Okay, z square minus 1. Now in this case, either z minus 1 is equal to 0 or z square plus z plus 1 is equal to 0. So which will mean that either z is equal to 1 or we can have z is equal to minus 1 plus minus b square, that is 1 square minus 4 into 1 into 1, okay, upon 2. Okay, so this will be minus 1 plus minus, so this will be 1 minus 4 upon 2. So this will be minus 1 plus minus 3 upon 2, minus plus minus 3i. So this will be under root 3i upon 2. Okay, see, this will be, so we have z is equal to 1 or z is equal to minus 1 plus under root 3i by 2 or z is equal to minus 1 minus under root 3i by 2. Okay, so these are basically these three are the cube roots of unity. These three are the cube roots of unity. These three are the cube roots of unity. So in case we need to get more, there are a lot of properties of cube roots of unity. For example, one cube root of unity, let me get some space out here. Okay, so basically one cube root of unity is the square of the other. For example, if we have omega is equal to, let's say, one of the cube roots of unity, okay, minus 1 plus under root 3i by 2. Now if I happen to square it, this will be 1 plus under root 3i by 2 whole square. So this will be minus 1 square plus under root 3i square, a square plus b square, minus 2 under root 3i by 2. Okay, obviously 4, I am so sorry, this 2 will become 4, a square plus b square minus 2ab. So this will be 1 plus under root 3i square minus 2 under root 3i upon 4. Okay, so this will be under root 3i square, this will be 3, 1 plus 3i square minus 2 under root 3i. So this will be 1 minus 3, 1, this will be minus 3 because I square is minus 1, minus 2 under root 3i by 4. So this will be minus 2 under root 3i by 4. If I take the 2 as common here, so this will be minus 1 minus under root 3i by 4. So this will give me minus I minus under root 3i by 2. So omega basically has two values. See, if I do an omega square, this will result in this, and we have already seen that one cube root of unity is this, one cube root of unity is this. So we can say 1 omega and omega square are the cube roots of unity. Cube roots of unity. See, if you happen to square this one, if you happen to square this one, you will get this value. If you happen to square this one, in the same way, see, if I happen to square this one, what will happen? This will become plus, okay? So this will become plus, which will result in minus 2 plus under root 3i, this will be 2, 1, and this will be, why are we getting this one? Okay, this will be minus 1 plus under root 3i by 2. So see, we are getting this value. Okay, so one cube root of unity, that is omega and omega, these are basically squares of each other. If you square this, you will get this. If you square this, you will get this. So we can say, so previously we were saying that this and this are the cube roots of unity. If I consider this to be omega or this to be omega, the other cube root of unity obviously will be omega square. So 1 omega and omega square are the cube roots of unity. So one has 3 cube roots of, there are 3 cube roots of unity. This is purely real, this is imaginary or complex. We can say this is complex, and this is also a complex number. Okay, we will study more about the properties of cube roots of unity. Okay, you can take a snapshot of the same. Okay people, so let's look at some properties of complex numbers, or rather cube roots of unity. The first property that we have is, if omega to the power of n or w to the power of n is equal to 1, which is basically a cube root of unity, then n is equal to 3k. If this is equal to 1 only if n is equal to 3k, where k is an integer. So let's look at this. See, omega here means, omega is basically a cube root of unity. Cube root of unity. So obviously here it will mean omega n, if I put 3k here, this is equal to 1. We know that omega cube to the power of k, so omega cube to the power of k, which will mean 1 to the power of k, which obviously will be 1, irrespective of whether 1 is whatever. If even so, k can belong to any integer set. See, omega to the power of n is equal to 1 if n is equal to 3k, where k belongs to any set of integers. See, omega 3k, if I put n as 3k here, so omega 3 to the power of k, and we know that omega is a cube root of unity. So what it means here is 1 to the power of 1 by 3 is equal to omega. So obviously 1 will be equal to, if I do a cube root of both, if I cube both sides, cubing both sides, we will have 1 is equal to omega. So obviously this value will be 1, 1 to the power of k will be 1, irrespective of whether 1 is 0 or whether 1 is negative or whether 1 is positive. Any numbers it can take, it will always give the result of 1. Okay, so this is one property. The sum of the 3 cube roots of unity is 0. We know that the cube roots are 1, the other one is 1 plus minus 1 plus 3i to the power of 2, and the other one is minus 1 minus under root 3i. This will be under root 3i upon 2. So if I happen to add all these one, okay, if I happen to add all of them, so this will be 2 plus minus 1 plus under root 3i plus minus 1 minus under root 3i. So obviously minus 1 and this 2 get cancelled, plus 3i minus 3i. So obviously this will be 0 by 2 and this will be 0. So the sum of the 3 cube roots of unity is 0. Now we know that the 3 cube roots of unity can be expressed as either 1 minus 1 plus under root 3i by 2 or minus 1 minus under root 3i by 2, and we know that one cube root of unity is the square root of the other. So if I happen to take this as 1 and this as omega, this can be taken as omega square. Now we even if we take this as omega, this will be omega square, any which ways. One complex cube root of unity is the square of the other complex cube root of unity. So if I happen to see, if I add all the cube roots of unity, I am getting 0. So I can say 1 plus omega square will be equal to 0. Okay, alright. So each complex cube root of unity is the reciprocal of the other. So we know that there are two complex cube roots of unity. One is 1 plus under root 3i by 2 and the other one is minus 1 minus under root 3i by 2. Okay. Now let's say if I do a reciprocal of this one, so it will be 2 by minus 1 plus under root 3i. If I happen to rationalize it, so this will be I will multiply by its conjugate pair, so this will be minus under root 3i minus 1 minus under root 3i. So what do we get here? 2 into minus 1 minus under root 3i upon minus 1 square minus under root 3i square. So what am I getting here? This will be minus 2 minus 2 under root 3i minus 2 under root 3i. Here it will be 1 minus under root 3i, which means 3, and I square means minus 1. So this will be plus 1. So this will be minus 2 under root 3i upon 4. So this will be minus 1 minus under root 3i by 2. Minus 1 by minus under root 3i by 2. So this will be the complex number. Okay. So if you look, if I do a reciprocal of this one, I will get this one. If I do a reciprocal of this one, I will get this one. So each complex cube root of unity is the reciprocal of other. Okay. So these are some properties. We are going to study more properties about the complex cube roots of unity. Okay. So let's just one moment here. Just one moment here. I am losing some sheets. Okay, so we have here more properties of cube roots of unity. Okay, so what are the more properties of cube roots of unity? The product of 3 cube roots of unity is 1. Okay, so if I look into it, 1, and the other one is 1 minus 1 plus under root 3i by 2 into minus 1 minus under root 3i by 2. So these are the 3 ones. Okay, we have here 1, so this 2 and 2 will become 4. Okay, 1 minus I minus under root 3i square, this will be minus 1 square. See, 1 is okay, 2 and 2 get 4. This is a plus b into a minus b, so a square minus b square. So this is going to give us how much? This is going to give us how much? 1 second here. This is going to give us minus 1 square, that is 1 minus 3i square by 4. So that's going to be 1 minus 3 by 4, and this will be 1 plus 3 by 4, that is 1. Okay, so the product of 3 cube roots of unity is 1. Okay, if 1 omega and omega square are the cube roots of unity, and n is a positive integer, then 1 plus omega n plus omega 2n will be equal to 3 or 0, where n is a multiple of 3, where n is not a multiple of 3. So let's look at this. Okay, now if we have omega and if we have, let's say, n. Okay, so if n is a positive integer and if it is a multiple of 3, so we can express n is equal to 3k. Okay, where k is an integer or positive integer, whatever. Okay, so in this case, what will we have? Where k is basically a positive integer. Okay, omega 3k, which means omega cube k, and omega cube is 1 to the power of k will be 1. Okay, so in this case the value of this will be 1. This is of course 1, and omega 2n. So let's look at this, omega 2n, which will mean omega n twice. We have already calculated the value of omega n to be 1. So 1 square. So this will be 1. So this will be 1 plus 1 plus 1, and hence we get 3, which is here what we are referring to, and is a multiple of 3. 0 where n is not a multiple of 3. 0 when n is not a multiple of 3, how will we get this? Okay, see, we know that 1 plus omega square, 1 plus omega, this is n and this is 2n, this will be 0. See, we know that okay, if we know that 1 plus omega square is equal to 0, we already know this, right? Okay, 1 plus omega square is equal to 0. So omega n will be what? If it is not a multiple of 3, whatever it is. Okay, if this is not a multiple of 3, so obviously this entire thing will become what? 0, and hence 1 plus omega n plus omega 2n will become 0. So this is an important property here, where n is not a multiple of 3. Okay, so these were some properties of. Okay, so let's do this here. A cube plus b cube, a cube plus b cube. We have to prove that this is equal to a plus b omega, and a plus b omega square. So let's say we have here a plus b, a plus b. This can be written as a into a, that is a square, a b omega plus a b omega square, a b omega square plus if I just take the RHS part, if I just take the RHS part, this will be a square, is a into a, then we will have ab omega, then this will be ab omega square plus b square omega square, b square omega square. Okay, so in this case, if you look into this entire thing, let's get into this. So we know that omega and omega square are conjugates of each other. We know that omega plus omega square, so we can write this as a plus omega, a square plus ab omega. Omega square is just the form of this one. Okay, see, we know that omega is equal to -1. Let's say if we take this one, then if we do an omega square, then this will be -1 plus 3i by 2 square, which will be how much? Omega square is equal to -1 square plus under root 3i square minus 2 under root 3i by 2. So this will be 1 plus 3i minus 2 under root 3i by 2. Okay, so this will be minus 3i square, so this will be obviously minus. So here it will be -2 minus 2 under root 3i by 2, which will be how much? -1. This will be 4. Yes, this will be 4. This will be 4. This will be 4. -1 minus under root 3i by 2. -1 minus under root 3i by 2. So in this case, omega square will be this. So we have ab omega. If we do this ab, if I take that, if I add these two up, see, omega is this, it is independent. If I take this, then I will get this. Okay, if I take minus here, then I will get plus here. So any which ways, if I do an omega plus omega square, what will I get? So -1, this will be -1 plus under root 3i plus -1 minus under root 3i by 2. So this and this gets cancelled. We have here -2 by 2, that is -1. Okay, so this will be -1 plus b square omega square, plus we have b square omega square. Actually this will be b square omega cube. I am so sorry. This will be b square omega cube, and we know that omega cube is equal to 1. So this will be 1. Okay, so if we take this a plus b a square minus ab, because omega plus omega square is -1 plus b square, and this is equal to a cube plus b cube. This will be equal to a cube plus b cube. Okay, so this is another property of square cube roots of unity. Okay people, so we will continue with more problems in complex numbers, and we will deal with various types of variations. As we have already discussed earlier, maths is basically a subject in which you need to have a lot of practice. Okay, so the only way in which you can build your concepts, if physics has to be treated in a different way. Of course, in all of the subjects you need to practice a lot of questions, but in physics, if you have to build in your core concepts, same way in chemistry. Okay, biology is altogether a different subject altogether, but in physics and chemistry we have to build, we have to concentrate on building up the concepts. Okay, in maths, the only way in which you can build up concepts is by practicing more and more. Okay, so the different variations of problems that you can deal with, the different variations of problems that you can do on a regular basis will automatically strengthen your core concepts in the subject itself. Okay, So on that note, we will again start with today's session, and this will be again, see, there has been a lot of speculation, not only in our channel but in different channels as well, that why the videos are so long. It becomes boring if the videos are so long. It is not possible to watch a 1 hour or a 2 hour video at a stretch. Yes, I agree, but to a very large extent, if a student cannot concentrate for an hour or two, then what is he trying for? Okay, very honestly, I would suggest that you have to strengthen your focus, whatever ways you can do it. It's like, you are on a chariot and the chariot is being driven by horses. All the horses are in different directions. The only reason why we are not able to focus beyond a certain period of time is because we have set our minds in that direction. Okay, our minds are getting pulled up in various directions, whatever our distractions are. So it's very important that we nurture and culture the focus that we have. Okay, and only then we can proceed ahead. So yes, you can have a plethora of options in various channels. You can have a lot of ways in which you can enhance your knowledge, but if you cannot focus for a long period of time, then eventually it will take a toll on you. And some way, or there are many aspirants who try every year, the numbers are in millions, okay, but only a few get selected. The reason why only a few get selected is because just because of their focus. Okay, so not trying to extend that more, we'll just so the videos are going to be lengthy. Yes, 1 hour, maybe 2 hours, maybe 3 hours. Okay, you have to cope up with it. Okay, you have to ensure that your focus is intact throughout the length of the videos. All we are doing is trying to solve different types of problems so that your core concepts in the topic is clear. Okay, so that much of investment in terms of time and energy has to be there from your end. Okay, all right. So we have here z minus 2 is equal to 2, z minus 1, and both are in mod forms. Okay, so you have to prove that z square is equal to 4 by 3 real value of z. So let z is equal to x plus iy. In that case, what we can write here is mod of x plus iy minus 2 will be equal to 2 mod of x plus iy minus 1. Okay, so what will be the mod of this one? This will be x minus 2 plus iy is equal to 2 into x minus 1 plus iy. So what will be the mod here? The mod here will be x minus 2 square plus y square. This is equal to x minus 1 square plus y square. Okay, so again this will be, now squaring both sides, we have here x minus 2 square plus y square is equal to 4 x minus 1 square plus 4 y square. So this gives you x square minus 2x, x square minus 4x plus 4 plus y square is equal to 4 into x square minus 4x plus 4 plus 4 y square. Okay, so here we have x square minus 4x plus y square plus 4 is equal to 4x square minus 16x plus 16 plus 4y square. So what do we get here? Minus 4x we have here, and here we have minus 16x. So this will be, basically if I transpose this term here, this will be 12x. Okay, okay, now let's see what we have here. Let's see. Okay, 4x square minus x square, so that will be 3x square So this is done. Then we have 4y square plus y minus y square. So this will be 3y square. This will be 3y square. And what else do we have? 16 and 4. That gives us basically 12. X minus 2y square, that will be x square minus 4x plus 4 plus y square, 4x square minus 16x plus 16 plus 4y square. 16 minus 4, that will be 12. What do we have here? Something is going wrong. X minus 1 plus iy, x minus 1 square plus y square. So this will be x minus 1 square. We are going wrong here. Right. Sorry for the confusion, people. X minus 1. So this will be minus 2x plus 1. Yes. Okay. So minus 8x plus 4. Yes, we are going wrong here. This will be x minus 1 whole square plus 4y square. This will be 4x square minus 8x plus 4 plus 4y square. 3x square plus 3y square. This 4 and this 4 gets cancelled. Okay, so we have here 3 into x square plus y square is equal to 12x. So x square plus y square will be equal to 12x by 3. So 4 by 3x is equal to x square plus y square. So it means 4 by 3 into real part of z is equal to, this will be what? Mod of z square. This will be a hence proved case. Okay, sorry for the mistake here, and this is how we will solve this problem. You can take a snapshot of the same. Okay, so in this one we have find the real values of x and y for which the complex numbers minus 3 plus I x square y and x square plus y plus 4i are conjugate of each other. Okay, so how do we do this? See, conjugate means that let's say if I have x plus iy, so its conjugate will be x minus iy. A pair with which if we multiply, we would get a, if we multiply these two, the answer will only be real. It cannot be imaginary. Okay. Alright, so in this case we have minus 3 plus I x square y. This is equal to x square plus y plus 4i. This is basically a conjugate pair. That's how we denote a conjugate pair. See, if I were to denote the conjugate pair of x plus iy, it will be written as x plus iy bar, which means x minus iy. Okay, so I can write this. In that case, it would mean x square plus y minus 4i, because here in front of the imaginary part we have a plus sign. So minus 3 plus I x square y is equal to this. Now equating the real parts on both sides. Equating the real parts on both sides. Okay, so we have here minus 3 is equal to x square plus y. Okay, now equating the imaginary parts on both sides. Equating the imaginary parts on both sides. So in this case we have equating the imaginary parts, x square y is equal to minus 4. Okay, x square y is equal to minus 4, or we can put this as minus 4 by x square. So y is equal to minus 4 by x square. Now if I happen to substitute the value of y in this equation, what do we get? This will be minus 3 is equal to x square plus y, which will be minus 4 by x square. X square, y, in place of y we can put as minus 4 by x square. So here it will be minus 3 x square is equal to x to the power of 4 minus 4 minus 3 x square. Okay, so we will have x to the power of 4 plus 3 x square minus 4 is equal to 0. So this will be x to the power of 4 plus 4 x square minus x square minus 4 is equal to 0. So which means x square into x square plus 4 minus 1 into x square plus 4 is equal to 0. This will be x square minus 1 into x square plus 4 is equal to 0. So either x square minus 1 is equal to 0 or x square plus 4 is equal to 0. We cannot accept this value because in that case x square will be equal to minus 4. So this will give us an imaginary value, whereas we have to find out the real values. So the only thing we can take here is this one. So x square is equal to 1, which means x is equal to plus minus 1, and both are basically real values. Okay, now in this case y will be equal to, putting x is equal to plus 1, we have minus 4 by plus 1, so this will be minus 4, and minus 4 by minus 1, that will be equal to 4. Okay, so x, either we have x is equal to plus 1 and y is equal to minus 4, or we have x is equal to minus 1 and y is equal to 4. So these are the two combinations which are possible. Okay, these are the two combinations which are possible. You can take a snapshot of the same. Okay, so here we have this question: x plus iy to the power of 5 is equal to p plus iq. Then prove that y plus ix to the power of 5 is equal to q plus ip. See, if one is equal, if we have complex numbers as equal, then the conjugate pairs will also be equal. So in this case we can say x plus iy to the power of 5, here it is p plus iq. So it means that their conjugate pairs will also be equal, which means x minus iy to the power of 5 will be equal to p minus iq. Now let's say I multiply both sides by I to the power of 5. So what do I get? I to the power of 5 into x minus iy to the power of 5 p I to the power of 5 minus I, and this I6 to the power of q. Okay, minus I6 to the power of q. Okay, so what do we have here? I to the power of 5, so this goes inside, so this becomes xi minus I to the power of 6y, right? This goes inside to the power of 5, we can say this, right? Because this is I to the power of 5, it goes inside, so this will be xi to the power of 5. This I, if it goes inside, I into I to the power of 5, so this will be I to the power of 6y is equal to 5, and this will be pi to the power of 5. Now what will be pi to the power of 5? Obviously, see, I to the power of 4 we know is 1. I to the power of 5 will be 1 into I. So that will be I only. So this will be pi. Now what is I to the power of 6? I to the power of 6 means I to the power of 4. I to the power of 4 into I square. I square is minus 1. I to the power of 4 is 1. So this will be minus 1. So here we will have minus minus q. Minus q. Okay. So on the right hand side we will have pi plus q. Now let's look at the left hand side. Here we have xi. I to the power of 6 again is minus 1. Xi minus y is to the power of 5 is equal to this. So we have here xi plus y to the power of 5 is equal to pi plus q, which would mean this, right? So just arranging it, y plus ix to the power of 5 is equal to q plus ip. This was what was required to be proved. So this will be a hence proved case. Okay. Okay, let's proceed ahead with the next problem here. Let z and w be two non-zero complex numbers. So these are two non-zero complex numbers such that mod of z is equal to mod of w. Argument of z plus argument of w is equal to pi, that is 180 degree. Okay, then prove that z is equal to minus mod of conjugate of w. Okay, all right. So let's say let z, or rather argument of z, let argument of z be theta. So obviously argument of w will be equal to pi minus argument of mod of z, which will be pi minus theta. So argument of w is equal to this. Now if we represent z, z can be represented as z plus z into mod of z into cos theta plus I sin theta. So this is the representation, right? The polar form. This is mod, this is cos theta plus I sin theta. This is basically what? The polar form. Okay. In the same way, we can represent w as mod of w into cos pi minus theta, because that is the argument. Okay, plus I sin pi minus theta, okay. So in this case w will be equal to, now z and w are equal, so in place of the mod of w we can put mod of z. This will be cos 180 minus theta, cos pi minus theta we all know is minus cos theta, and sin 180 minus theta we all know is sin theta. So here we can write minus cos theta plus I sin theta. Okay, making some more modifications. If I take the minus out, this will be minus z cos theta minus I sin theta. So w is equal to this, and look at this, just compare these two, okay. If we compare these two, okay, so this part is basically the conjugate of this part, right? This part is basically the conjugate. If I put the conjugate here, so this will be minus z cos theta plus I sin theta, the entire thing conjugate, okay, conjugate, and this minus comes along with it. This minus is basically outside it, okay, and this is what? W. So we can put here W. So Z will be equal to minus of W. Z will be equal to minus of W. Oh, sorry, conjugate. Okay, minus of W conjugate. Because if I put the conjugate here, so this will be, yes, conjugate of this will be equal to conjugate of this. If I put the conjugate, see, W is equal to minus Z cos theta, the conjugate of this will be this, so W conjugate, okay. So if you look into this, this is nothing but Z itself, so Z is equal to minus conjugate of W, hence proved. Okay, pretty easy and short sum. Okay, so let's look at this problem. Before we deal with this problem, we have to understand this. Okay, let's say x plus iy, if this is equal to, let's say a plus ib. Okay, if this is the case, then we will have the mod of x plus iy will be equal to mod of a plus ib. Okay, this is something that is there already. Okay, now we have a plus ib, c plus id, all these are basically different complex numbers. E plus if and g plus ih is equal to a plus ib. So if we follow this one, then we have to prove this, right? Then prove this, this has to be proved. Okay, so we can say in the same lines that mod of a plus ib into c plus id into e plus if into g plus ih, this entire mod should be equal to mod of a plus ib, which means separately mod of a plus ib, okay, mod of C plus ID, mod of E plus IF, mod of G plus IH. This should be equal to mod of A plus IB. So let's look at this now. This will be under root of A square plus B square. This will be under root of C square plus D square. This will be into under root of E square plus F square into under root of G square plus H square. This should be under root of A square plus B square. Okay. So squaring both sides, that is LHS and RHS, we will have A square plus B square into C square plus D square into E square plus F square into G square plus H square will be equal to A square plus B square, and this is a hence proved case. This is a hence proved case. Okay, a pretty easy sum and a pretty short one as well. Okay, so in this problem we have z is equal to x plus iy, w is equal to 1 minus iz upon z minus I. Then prove that w mod of w is and okay, this is also a condition. W is equal to 1, mod of w is equal to 1. Then you have to prove, the syntax of the question has been a little jumbled up. Okay, so this is basically given, this is also given, and this is also given. You have to prove that z is purely real. So let's take this. Okay, now w is equal to 1 minus iz upon z minus I. So obviously mod of w will be equal to mod of I 1 minus iz upon z minus I, which means mod of w will be equal to 1 minus iz upon z minus I mod. Okay, so in this case let z, we can say, is equal to x plus iy. Mod of w is equal to 1 minus I, z can be written as x plus iy. Okay, x plus iy upon z, that is x plus iy minus I. This is the mod. Okay, 1 minus I, x plus iy, x plus iy minus I. So this mod of w will be equal to 1 minus xi, 1 minus xi minus I square y upon x plus iy minus I, x plus iy minus I. So this will be equal to 1 minus y. See, this will be this is 1 plus y, right? This I square will turn out to be minus 1. So this will be 1 minus y. So this will be 1 plus y minus x I upon let's segregate the real. So this will be 1 y minus 1 into I, mod of this and mod of this. Okay, so what will be the mod of this one? And we know mod of this is 1. So mod of this is 1. So this will be 1 plus y. So this will be under root of 1 plus y square minus x square upon under root of x square plus y minus 1 square is equal to 1. So this will be x square plus y minus 1 square is equal to under root of 1 plus y square minus x square. Squaring both sides, if we happen to square both sides, what do we get? X square plus y minus 1 square is equal to 1 plus y square minus x square. So in this case, look at this one. So this will be x square plus y square. Oh, why am I putting minus here? We have a minus here. 1 plus y minus xi. Okay, this will be plus. This will be minus x square. Right. So this will be plus minus x square. So this will be 1 plus y plus x square. Right, correct. So this will be plus x square. I'm sorry. So here in this case the mod part will be this square plus this square. So this will be x square. Okay. So we are getting these two as cancelled. Now look at this one. So what are we left with? Y minus 1 square is equal to 1 plus y square. Now this is a very odd case. What we are getting here is y square minus 2y plus 1 is equal to 1 plus 2y minus y square. So in this case this will be plus y square. The y square part get cancelled. The 1 and 1 part get cancelled. Minus 2 minus 2y is equal to 2y, which is not possible until unless only possible when y, which means basically minus y is equal to y, which is only possible when y is equal to 0. So if y is equal to 0, then obviously z will be equal to only x plus I into 0, which is basically x. So z is equal to x. So this is purely real. This is a pure real number. Okay. Can take a snapshot of the same. Okay, people, as we were dealing with complex numbers, we will be also discussing certain problems which are based on De Moivre's theorem. So we need to have a clarity on what basically is De Moivre's theorem. A lot of problems are based on this. Okay, so what does De Moivre's theorem say? If n is equal to q, the set of rational numbers, then cos theta plus I sin theta to the power of n will be equal to cos n theta plus I sin n theta. We can also say that so how do we prove this? This ei theta, let ei theta be equal to cos theta plus I sin theta. So obviously ei n theta, so let's say ei theta to the power of n. If we do this, then this will be cos theta plus, this is the Euler's form, right? This is basically the Euler's form. So we have here cos theta plus I sin theta to the power of n. Here we can write e I n theta. So this will be equal to cos theta. So if e I n theta, cos theta plus I sin theta to the power of n. Now here we can say e I n theta. So n theta becomes 1. So here we can say cos n theta plus I sin n theta. This is basically this is basically what we have as, so we can say that this is equal to this. So cos theta plus I sin theta to the power of n is cos n theta plus I sin theta. Okay. Now if we have cos theta minus I sin theta to the power of n, so this will be equal to cos n theta minus I sin n theta, cos n theta minus I sin n theta. If we have 1 by cos theta minus I sin theta, this will be equal to cos theta minus I, okay, if we have this as to the power of n, so this will be cos theta I sin theta minus I cos n theta minus I sin n theta. Okay, so these are certain forms of De Moivre's theorem which we need to understand. If we have, let's say z is a complex number and we have cos theta plus I sin theta, and let's say we take the nth root of z. So in this case it will be cos theta plus I sin theta to the power of 1 by n, which means z 1 by n will be equal to cos 2k pi plus theta, cos 2k pi plus theta by n plus I sin 2k pi plus theta by n. Here the value of n will be anywhere, so the value of k will be anywhere between 0 to n minus 1. Okay, z1 by n will be equal to 2k pi plus theta by n. I saying 2k pi plus theta by n, where the value of z is, where the value of k is anywhere between 0 to n minus 1. So this is pretty much about De Moivre's theorem. We will discuss some more details out here. You can take a snapshot of the same. Okay, some more derivations from De Moivre's theorem. For example, we have cos theta plus, so we know that cos theta plus I sin theta to the power of n is equal to cos I theta cos n I theta plus I sin n theta. Cos n theta plus I sin n theta. What if this is subtraction? Cos theta minus I sin theta to the power of n. So this will be cos n theta minus I sin n theta. How is it coming this way? So let's do this. Okay, if we have cos theta to the power, we can write this as cos minus theta, because cos minus theta is equal to cos theta. Let's say we have here okay, cos minus theta minus I sin, so we can write this as sin minus theta, right, to the power of n. See, sin of minus theta is minus sin theta, and cos theta is equal to cos minus theta. So here we are putting cos theta, this is the same as cos minus theta, and since this is minus I sin theta, we can write plus I sin minus theta. Okay, so in this case it will be cos minus n theta plus I sin minus n theta. Okay, this would mean now again this will turn into positive, so cos n theta, and this minus comes out, minus I sin n theta. So that's how it is. This will be equal to this. Okay, so this will be equal to this. We can take a snapshot of the same. Okay, so continuing with De Moivre's theorem, some more derivations here. Let's say we have here, so we know that cos theta plus I sin theta to the power of n will be equal to cos n theta plus I sin n theta. Clear? Okay, we know this, but if we replace this, let's say we say sin theta plus I sin theta plus I cos theta to the power of n, would it be equal to sin n theta plus I cos n theta? So the answer is no, this will not be equal. So we have to have this in this format, I sin theta cos theta to the power of n, only then this will be applicable. Okay, one thing more, if let's say we have here cos theta plus I sin theta to the power of n, we can see, we know that cos pi by 2 minus theta is equal to cos theta, as it falls in the first quadrant. We also know that sin pi by 2 minus theta is equal to sin theta, as this also falls in the first quadrant. So in this place we can write cos pi by 2 minus theta plus I sin pi by 2 minus theta, correct? Okay, if I write it in this way, to the power of n. So now we can write cos n pi by 2 minus theta plus I sin n pi by 2 minus theta. So this can be written as cos n pi by 2 minus n theta plus I sin n pi by 2 minus n theta. Okay, so we can say that, yes, so cos theta plus I sin theta to the power of n can be written in this format. Can be written in this format. Okay. One thing more, if I happen to change the angle, then also De Moivre's theorem will not be applicable. So let's say if I say cos theta plus I sin, let's say we take any other angle phi, okay, to the power of n, this will not be equal to cos n theta plus I sin n phi. This will not be equal to this. The De Moivre's theorem is applicable only if cos theta falls here and sin theta falls here along with the imaginary part, and De Moivre's theorem is applicable only if the angles happen to be the same, otherwise not. Okay, if the arguments are same, only then De Moivre's theorem will be applicable. So these were a little tips and bits about De Moivre's theorem. We will do some more problems out here in order to have an absolute clarity on this theorem and how to apply it. Okay, so we have this problem which is basically based on De Moivre's theorem. The purpose here is to ensure that De Moivre's theorem is absolutely clear to you in its applications as well. Okay, so what do we have here? Cos theta plus I sin theta. We can easily apply De Moivre's theorem to this format. However, if you look into the denominator part, we cannot apply De Moivre's theorem there. So what do? We have to change it into this format. So denominator part, let's say we have in the denominator sin theta plus I cos theta, sin theta plus I cos theta. Can we write it in this format? If I take I as common, I can put this as cos theta, okay, and plus sin theta, but here I have to put I, but I into I will give me minus 1. So I have to put here minus 1. Now look at this. So this will give me what? This will give me I cos theta, and this will be minus I square sin theta, which will be what? I cos theta plus sin theta, which is nothing but this only. Okay, so if I take out I as common, I will get it in the standard format wherein I can apply De Moivre's theorem. So this can be written as cos theta plus I sin theta to the power of 4 upon I cos theta minus I sin theta, and this will be to the power of 4. So we have here I to the power of 4. So this can be written as, applying De Moivre's theorem here, we get cos 4 theta plus I sin 4 theta, and applying here I to the power of 4 cos 4 theta. See, I am applying De Moivre's theorem here. Now it is in the correct format, cos 4 theta minus I sin 4 theta. Okay, so now I will multiply this by its conjugate. So here we have cos 4 theta plus I sin 4 theta. Now I to the power of 4 we know, is 1. So here we will have cos 4 theta minus I sin 4 theta into cos 4 theta plus I sin 4 theta. This will have cos 4 theta plus I sin 4 theta multiplied by this. So we have here cos square 4 theta minus I square sin 4 theta, and this will be cos 4 theta plus I sin 4 theta square. Okay, now let's look at this one. This will be cos 4 theta. So this is square basically. So this will be cos 8 theta plus I sin 8 theta upon cos square 4 theta minus 1. So this will be plus 1 sin square. Oh, this will be sin square. I'm sorry. This will be sin square, because this is a plus, this is in the format of a minus b into a plus b, the conjugate pair. So this will be a square minus b square. Okay, so this will be minus I square is minus 1. So this minus and this minus becomes plus. So this will be sin 4 theta. Now we know that sin square theta plus cos square theta is equal to 1. So the denominator part will become 1. What do we have here? This will be cos 8 theta plus I sin 8 theta. So this will be your answer, that is cos 8 theta plus I sin 8 theta. Okay, so we'll deal with more problems in De Moivre's theorem so that we have an absolute clarity on this one. Okay, so in De Moivre's theorem we have sin pi by 8 plus I cos pi by 8 to the power of 8, sin pi by 8 minus I cos pi by 8 to the power of 8. Okay, how do we do this? See, we have to first convert it into the standard format of cos here and imaginary part in the sine format. Okay, so before applying De Moivre's theorem, in this case what can we take here? Let's say if I take I as common, so this will be I cos pi by 8, cos pi by 8, this will be minus I sin pi by 8. How? Because I cos pi by 8 will give you I cos pi by 8, I into this will give you minus I square, minus I square will be plus, so that will be sin pi by 8, this entire thing to the power of 8. Okay, here we have, so in this case also we will take out, okay, in this case we'll take out minus I as common. So what will we be getting here? This will be cos pi by 8. Now here we have I sin pi by 8. We'll decide on what should be the sign here. So minus I, we need plus. Okay, so this will be plus, because minus I into plus I will give you minus I square, and minus I square is plus 1. So that's how it will get balanced. Okay, so here we have I to the power of 8, I to the power of 8 cos pi by 8 minus I sin pi by 8 to the power of 8. Now this is the format in which we can apply De Moivre's theorem, and this will be minus I to the power of 8 cos pi by 8 plus I sin pi by 8 to the power of 8. Now I to the power of 8, we know I to the power of 4, I to the power of 4 is 1. So obviously I to the power of 8 will be equal to I to the power of 4 square, that is 1. I to the power of minus I to the power of 8 we know will be equal to minus I to the power of 4. Now minus I to the power of 4, which means see, this will be minus I to the power of 8. So this will be minus I into minus I into minus I into minus I. So we have here I square, and this minus gets cancelled. Okay, so we will have I to the power of 4, which will be equal to 1 as well. So I to the power minus I to the power of 8 will give us I minus I to the power of 4 square, which is basically 1 square, and hence this will also be 1. So this both will get cancelled because both have a value of 1. Here we have cos pi 8 into 8, applying De Moivre's theorem, I sin pi by 8 into 8 upon we have here cos pi by 8 into 8 plus I sin pi by 8 into 8. So this gives us cos pi minus I sin pi upon cos pi plus I sin pi. Okay, so if we have to basically do this, so this will be multiplied by its conjugate pair. Let's say what will be the conjugate pair here, cos pi minus I sin pi, and this will be cos pi minus I sin pi. So what's going to be the conjugate pair here? Cos square pi minus I square sin pi. Okay, and here it will be cos pi minus I sin pi square. Okay, so in this case so this will be, see, cos square, this will be plus, so obviously the thing here will become 1. Okay, what do we have on top? We will have cos square pi minus I square sin square pi minus, this will be a minus b, a square plus b square minus 2ab. Okay, minus 2 sin pi minus 2 cos pi sin pi. Okay, we all know that here cos pi we all know will become -1. Let's calculate this here. 2i cos square pi plus I square sin square pi minus 2i cos pi sin pi. Now cos pi is equal to how much? Cos pi minus 0, which means cos, so this will be cos 0 minus cos 0, that is -1. So cos square pi will be -1 square, that will be 1. Okay, what do we have here? Sin pi, sin 180 minus 0, so this will be sin 0, that is equal to 0. So this will be, entire thing becomes 0, this entire thing becomes 0. What about this one? See, this also entire thing will become 0. Okay, so this will be -0. So we have here 1 upon 1. So this answer will be basically 1. Okay, you can take a snapshot of the same. Okay, so we have here this problem in which 1 by x plus x is equal to 2 cos theta. Then prove that xn plus 1 by xn is equal to cos n theta. Okay, so let's do this here. See, if 1 by x plus x is equal to 2 cos theta, multiplying this entire equation by x, we will have 1 plus x square is equal to 2x cos theta, which means x square minus 2x cos theta plus 1 is equal to 0. Okay, now this is basically a quadratic equation, and we know quadratic equation x will be equal to minus b plus minus b square minus 4ac by 2a. In this case, the value of b will be this thing, minus 2 cos theta. So this will be minus 2 cos theta. What do we have? B square as obviously minus 2 cos theta square minus 4 into a, that is 1, and c is 1 upon 2a, 2 into 1. So here we have 2 cos theta plus minus, this will be 4 cos square theta minus 4 upon 2 into 1, that is 2. So this will be 2 cos theta plus minus, if I take the 4 common, then it comes out as 2. Here we can say this is cos square theta minus 1 upon 2. So obviously the 2's get cancelled here. We have cos theta plus minus, see, we can write this as minus 1 minus cos square theta, right? We can write this as minus 1 minus cos square theta, the inside thing here. Okay, so this will be cos theta plus minus, this will be minus sin square theta. So this will be cos theta plus minus, this minus comes out, and this will be sin theta into under root of minus 1. So this is going to be cos theta plus minus I sin theta. So cos theta plus minus I sin theta. So x has a value of this. So obviously x to the power of n will have the value of cos theta plus minus I sin theta to the power of n, which means what? Cos n theta plus minus I sin n theta. Okay, so this will be the value of xn. Now if I have 1 by xn, this will mean x to the power of minus n, which will mean cos n theta plus minus I sin theta cos theta plus I sin theta to the power of minus n. Okay, so how is this going to change? So here we will have cos minus n theta, applying De Moivre's theorem, plus minus I sin minus n theta, which would mean minus, see, this minus gets, see, cos minus theta, we all know cos minus theta is equal to cos theta, and sin minus theta is equal to minus sin theta. So in this case we will have cos n theta, this minus gets cancelled, and here we will have plus minus I sin theta. So the signs are going to change here. So this minus gets this modified as minus plus I sine theta. Okay, so x to the power of minus n will become this, x to the, sorry, 1 by, yes. Okay, so if I happen to add these two, so look at this very closely, xn is equal to cos n theta plus minus, and x minus n is equal to this. If I add these two, obviously these two will get cancelled, because this is plus minus I sine n theta and this is minus plus I sine n theta. So this will be xn plus 1 by xn will be equal to 2 cos n theta. These two will get cancelled. Okay, so the answer will be 2 cos n theta. Okay, you can take a snapshot of the same. Okay, so let's look at this problem here. If n is a positive integer, then prove that 1 plus cos theta plus I sine theta to the power of n plus 1 plus cos theta minus I sine theta to the power of n is equal to 2n plus 1 cos n theta by 2 cos n theta by 2. Okay, alright, so 1 plus cos theta, we all know cos 2 theta is equal to 2 cos square theta minus 1. So obviously cos 2 theta plus 1 will be equal to 2 cos square theta. So 1 plus cos theta obviously will be equal to 2 cos square theta by 2. This becomes theta from 2 theta, so obviously this will become theta by 2 from theta. So here we can write 2 cos square theta by 2 plus, now sin theta, we know sin 2 theta is equal to 2 sin theta cos theta. So obviously sin theta will be equal to 2 sin theta by 2 cos theta by 2. Okay, so here we have 2i sin theta by 2 cos theta by 2 to the power of n. Okay, plus here we have again same thing, 2 cos square theta by 2 plus minus 2i sin theta by 2 cos theta by 2 to the power of n. Okay, so if I take the common part here, 2 cos theta by 2 cos theta by 2 cos theta by 2 plus I sin theta by 2 to the power of n plus here we will have 2 cos, taking 2 cos theta by 2 as common. Okay, 2 cos theta by 2 into cos theta by 2 minus I sin theta by 2 to the power of n. Okay, so what do we have here? This will be obviously 2 to the power of n cos n theta by 2 cos n theta by 2. This will be cos theta by 2 plus I sin theta by 2 to the power of n plus this will be 2 to the power of n cos n theta by 2. This will be cos theta by 2 minus I sin theta by 2 to the power of n. So what do we have here? We can take this as common from both. So we will have here 2n cos n theta by 2 2n cos n theta by 2. This will be, so if I take this as common, obviously this will become what? By applying De Moivre's theorem, this will be cos n theta by 2 plus I sin n theta by 2 plus cos n theta by 2 minus I sin n theta by 2. Okay, so this gets cancelled. We have here 2n cos n theta by 2. This will be equal to 2 cos n theta by 2. If we take this theta, if we take this 2 out, obviously it will be 2n plus 1 and this will be cos n theta by 2 into cos n theta by 2. This is cos to the power of n theta by 2 and this is cos n theta by 2. So this will be a clear hence proved case. Okay. Alright, so we did couple of problems on De Moivre's theorem.